Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister of Japan.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you His Excellency Kishida Fumio, the Prime Minister of Japan.
Mr. Speaker, Madam Vice President, honorable members of the United States Congress, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I never get such nice applause from the Japanese Diet. Since childhood, I have felt a connection to the United States, perhaps because I spent my first 3 years of elementary school at PS 20 and PS 13 in Queens, New York. Even though I was the only Japanese student there, my classmates kindly accepted me and helped me immerse myself in a new culture. We arrived in the fall of 1963, and for several years, my family lived like Americans. My father would take the subway to Manhattan, where he worked as a trade official. We rooted for the Mets and the Yankees and ate hot dogs at the Coney Island. On vacation, we would go Niagara Falls or here to Washington, D.C. I remember things that were strange and funny to a little Japanese boy, like watching the Flintstones. I still miss that show. Although I could never translate yabba-dabba-doo. After 60 years, I have a message for the good people of Queens. Thank you for making my family and me feel so welcome. I have never forgotten it. So I speak to you today as a long and close friend of the United States. I know that the National Park Service is undertaking a rehabilitation project in the tidal basin. As a gesture of friendship, Japan will provide 250 cherry trees that will be planted there in anticipation of the 50th anniversary of your independence. The United States policy was based on the premise that humanity does not want to live oppressed by an authoritarian state where you were tracked and surveilled and denied from expressing what is in your heart and on your mind. You believe that freedom is the oxygen of humanity. The world needs the United States to continue playing this pivotal role in the affairs of nations. And yet, as we meet here today, I detect an undercurrent of self-doubt among some Americans about what your role in the world should be. This self-doubt is arising at the time when our world is at history's turning point. The post-Cold War era is already behind us, and we are now at inflection point that will define the next stage of human history. Turning to Japan's own neighborhood, China's current external stance and military actions present unprecedented and the greatest strategic challenge, not only to the peace and security of Japan, but to the peace and stability of international community at large. I want to address those Americans who feel the loneliness and exhaustion of being the country that has upheld the international order almost single-handedly. I understand it is a heavy burden to carry such hopes on your shoulders. Although the world looks to your leadership, the U.S. should not be expected to do it all, unaided and on your own. Yes, the leadership of the United States it is indispensable. Without U.S. support, how long before hopes of Ukraine would collapse under the onslaught from Moscow? Ladies and gentlemen, as the United States' closest friend, Tomodachi, the people of Japan are with you side by side to assure the survival of liberty. Not just for our people, but for all people. I'm not saying this out of my strong attachment to America. I'm an idealist, but a realist too. The defense of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law is the national interest of Japan. The Japanese people are fully committed to these values. I do not want to leave our children in a society where human rights were suppressed, where political self-determination is denied, where our lives are monitored by digital technology. I know you don't either. Upholding these values is both a cause and a benefit for our two countries, as well as for the generations to come across the world. The democratic nations of the world must have all hands on deck. I'm here to say that Japan is already standing shoulder to shoulder with the United States. You are not alone. We are with you. In 2022, we announced that we would secure substantial increase of our defense budget by fiscal year 2027 to 2% of GDP. Possess counter-strike capability and improve cybersecurity. Today, deterrence that our alliance provides is stronger than ever, bolstered by U.S. extended deterrence for Japan. Japan believes in U.S. leadership, and we also believe in the U.S. economy. Japan is the number one foreign direct investor in the United States. Japanese companies have invested around $800 billion, creating almost 1 million American jobs. These are good jobs, with 500,000 jobs in manufacturing sector alone. Yesterday, President Biden and I announced that the Japanese national will be the first non-American astronaut to land on the moon on the future Artemis mission. And we have two astronauts with us today. Would Mr. Hoshide and Mr. Tani please stand? Mr. Akihiko Hoshide has flown to space 3 times and served as commander of the International Space Station for 5 months in 2021. And next to him is Mr. Daniel Tani. He is a retired Japanese-American astronaut who has conducted 6 spacewalks and in his 2 missions logged over 50 million miles. Which is a lot of friggin' fire points. Mr. Hoshide and Mr. Tani are living symbols of our collaboration in space. And we will have many more such collaborations in the future. Thank you, gentlemen. Bonded by our belief, I pledge to you Japan's firm alliance and enduring friendship. A global partners for the future. We are your global partner today, and we will be your global partner in the years ahead. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your hospitality. And thank you for the role you play in the world. ありがとう。